Subscribe and hit the bell icon to never miss another update from India Forums.
You know, I've known Ayush for 5 years now, and I actually never asked him, Ayush, how did you get this idea? Until he told us yesterday. He was with us yesterday. Yeah.
So what I asked him that.
Yeah.
Don't take the credit.
Okay. Sorry. All the scenes of the Balwant he wrote.
That background wouldn't have been there, then it's a different issue. Then there are avenues which then we would search for within the script as to what exactly would be the right way to play it. So everything matters. I mean, even if it's a one-line sentence about his background, still matters. So that would have been different, definitely.
And he goes like, यार देखो यही बात है ना, ये दिल्ली का हजरत निजामुद्दीन होता 10 गाड़ी खड़ी होती.
I know, yeah.
It just, I mean, it's just, how do you comprehend a guy like that? Yeah.
Right.
Opening, the voiceover, I think it sums up the character in itself. That was so beautifully written. वो जो ओपनिंग सीक्वेंस था ना, उसमें बहुत बखूबी से उसका किरदार समझ में आ जाता है.
1984 में कुछ ऐसा हुआ जिसने सिर्फ इंडिया को ही नहीं पूरी दुनिया को बदल दिया. भोपाल गैस ट्रेजेडी के बारे में आपने पढ़ा सुना, यस ये सब हुआ है, लेकिन रेलवे मैन इनके नज़रिए से क्या हुआ था, कैसे हुआ था, वो अब तक नहीं पता था. बट हे 2016 में भी कुछ हुआ. OTT बस बन रहा था, आ रहा था, और अब 7 साल बाद इसके एक्सपोनेंशियल सक्सेस को अगर आप एक फ्रेम में देखना चाहेंगे तो वो फ्रेम यहाँ मौजूद है. आई हैव विद अस द फैंटास्टिक टीम ऑफ रेलवे मैन, ऑफ कोर्स डायरेक्टर शिव, Divyendu, Kay Menon sir, and Sunny Hinduja. Thank you guys, thank you. This is Kunal from India Forums.
Thank you, Kunal.
Great. So I'll obviously start with you, Shiv. It's such a fascinating thing. You started as an AD, of course, and that's what IMDb tells, that you have these 3 credits, which is Befikre, Dhoom 3, and Fan.
Yeah.
I'm doing this because it's so varied, and then you choose something like Railwayman, which goes even out of the them. So what was the seed of the idea, and how did it just occur to you?
The seed of the idea actually came from the writer Ayush Gupta, and he wrote this 2-pager, and coincidentally it was I've known Ayush for 5 years now, and I actually never asked him, Ayush, how did you get this idea? Until he told us yesterday. He was with us yesterday. Yeah. So what
I asked him that.
Yeah.
Don't take the credit.
Okay, man. Sorry. All the scenes of the Balwant he wrote. What Ayush said is that he obviously knew about the Bhopal Gas Tragedy, and somewhere on an internet forum, he read about this, that rescue trains came to the station in the morning. So he found it very fascinating, and Ayush, a lot of people don't know this about him, but Ayush is petrified of flying.
Oh.
Ayush, when he lives in Delhi, whenever he comes to Bombay, he takes a train and comes. He only prefers going up and down in train. So Ayush said that he wanted to understand what happened between 12:45 AM, which is when the gas leaked, and 10 in the morning, between when the rescue trains came. What happened at that station? And that was the germ of the idea. And I'm saying this on his behalf. And obviously he wrote this story out, and I was fortunate enough for it to land in my hands. And I remember seeing it and reading it and being completely mind blown, because I thought, if someone can tell the story of the darkest night in Indian history in modern history with a lens of courage and hope and determination, and really just the power of humanity and the human spirit, I thought it would be an amazing story to take to the screen. And I remember taking it to Aditya Chopra and him feeling the same thing.
Yeah.
And that's when we really just went, we just put the pedal on the accelerator and the train started moving on the tracks.
Good puns. I like that.
Yeah.
Fantastic. So coming to you, what fascinated me the most about Iftikhar is that, of course, firstly, just giving you a heads up, it's obviously going to be a spoiler-filled interview. Come on, watch it. It's 3 days already. Watch the show already. Yes, sir. So what fascinated me about Iftikhar the most is that I think his is the only character which has so much visual to the backstory. Other characters hai, matlab unka bhi kuch glimpses diye hai, but his is the most, because there is something which is affecting him the most, and which leads him to sort of have this pachtawa, not pachtawa, but that moment of repentance ke mujhe ab ye karna hai. But the character, the way I saw it, was so righteous in general as a human being and so like kartavya nishtha and everything. Do you feel that he needed that as a catapult, mechanism to do what he did? Or you feel कि जो बंदा जैसे था, he would have still done it just out of humanity?
No, I would have played it differently. Because if you're going to introduce the audience to a background, then you've got to be truthful to it. So I knew that he has had a problem of PTSD, traumatic experience earlier. So hence he has PTSD. And normally a guy with that kind of a thing is reserved, is a cocoon fellow. So you've got to play him like that. And then at the same time, his obstinacy towards his profession, protocols, this and that, because he knows it's a high risk job. So all that stuff. So it had to be very, very internal, the process. It couldn't have been otherwise. So if that background wouldn't have been there, then it's a different issue. Then there are avenues which then we would search for within the script as to what exactly would be the right way to play him. So everything matters. I mean, even if it's a one-line sentence about his background, still matters. So that would have been different, definitely.
Also, conflict is everything.
Yeah,
You need to have a conflict.
Right,
Yeah.
true.
But thank you for noticing that he's the only one with a visual backstory.
Of course.
Because everyone else it's a 24-hour story.
It's a 24-hour story. It's quick.
So everyone.
This is the only thing which consistently comes in.
And Imad has one scene in the
Imad has
flashback.
one scene which
And
is
I have
two
in the future.
In the future.
in the
He has two
future,
in the
exactly.
future.
Yeah, and also on a lighter note, sir, 2 projects हो गए भी भोपाल गैस पे भी और कुछ बचा है एंगल के हिसाब से to explore
नहीं,
in the
मैं
gas tragedy.
सोच रहा हूँ इसमें कम से कम लोग जग जाए.
अब पता चल जाएगा कि किस
त्रासदी
लेवल का हुआ था.
हाँ, क्योंकि वो इस जनरेशन कुछ पता नहीं है उसके बारे में.
True, correct.
Nobody knows about this, and plus the fact that it might just do 2-3 things. One is that it will increase awareness amongst the youngsters that this is
Gen
something
Z.
that's happening. Yeah,
Exactly.
Number 2 is that it will generate some kind of respect towards the railways. And number 3, those people who have not done anything about it, it might just awaken them to do something about
Yeah.
it.
Fantastic, of course. Divyendu, coming to you, I was very intrigued when I heard another interview of yours when you mentioned that you actually had a very close friend or a former classmate from FTII whose father was a part of when it happened. And I think it makes such a difference when you know someone or that person has that anecdote when, which is so personal because we are still second person, third person coming to it. So if I may ask that, if that person is still there, has he seen this show yet?
He's not there. Chandrahas is not there anymore because he was affected by the gas in some way and his kidneys were not always in the great shape.
Right.
And eventually, he passed away.
Okay, so has the son, has your friend seen the show yet?
No, I'm talking about him only.
Oh, you're talking about him. I thought you were talking about the father.
There.
Right, sorry.
Hence, hence the whole severity of the situation that his father died that very night or maybe couple of nights after that, suffering from that. And Chandrahas many years after that because it affected his kidneys brutally.
Of course.
Yeah.
And of course, coming to you, because it was segue into that. Again, your character is obviously the most out of sorts, as we know already, in terms of the other characters. But again, it's such a very intriguing thing there that you see the moments of empathy because he's still a human being at the end of the day. He has his reasons for what he is doing, but he has his moment of empathy. He has his moment of heroism as well. Do you feel that the kind of character he was, because when there are glimpses, when you see that, oh no, he's still trying to do what he came to do. He's still trying to, when he has that tiff with the thing and then even in the end, towards the end. Do you think that was that a moment of empathy where he was looking at Iftikhar and just taking that humanity, soaking in that? Or is it just one of those things that he found that as a factor of heroism?
Honestly, I tell you, for Balwant, it was not easy to comprehend what he was going through.
Right.
He's not one of those guys who comes from a family background and understand the value of human system. Right. His value system is very different from everyone else. And he gets inspired from Siddiqui. He gets irritated by him. He gets angry by him that why the hell this guy is not understanding, their lives are important. Our lives are also important. What's wrong with it? You know, it's not easy to understand that someone who's that righteous in life.
Correct.
Which I liked the contrast of Balwant, that it was very important for this story to show that there was this perspective also. People must have been there, not everyone's a hero, or born a hero. or have this clear path in his mind that, you know, I'm gonna go save people.
Right.
You adapt to situations, you know, but still somewhere you're the same, right? You can't forget who you are.
Right.
So to discover that each every day, you know, every situation a little, because you know when he interacts with the kids, he's a completely different person.
Exactly.
Tell them
Exactly.
about what we were talking about yesterday, na? The kids and then Nizamuddin क्या होता है वो?
क्या?
कल जो हम बात कर रहे थे वो बच्चों के साथ.
Precisely.
Yeah.
So obviously you've seen the series. So there's a sequence where he goes and, you know, he talks to the kids, very emotional conversation
yeah.
and everything. Gets up from there, he walks, very tired and everything. Iftikhar comes, Imadrias comes, तीनों बैठ जाते हैं वहाँ पे and they start talking कि हाँ जी अब करना क्या है, यहाँ से धीरे धीरे
Right.
निकलने का तो सोचना होगा. It's a grim conversation, it's still a very grim feeling. और वो कॉन्वर्सेशन जब तक खत्म होती है एंड ही सेज कि नहीं नहीं हमारे यहाँ पे तो एक ही लोकोमोटिव इंजन है, एंड ही गोज लाइक यार देखो यही बात है ना, अब ये दिल्ली का हजरत निजामुद्दीन होता 10 गाड़ी खड़ी होती.
I know. Yeah.
It just, I mean, it's how do you comprehend a guy like that?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right.
But it's actually it's such a, more than anything, he's so real. He's so real. It makes the whole thing very 3D. You can actually touch and feel the situation and this person, because that's who we are. Yeah, we in greatest of a crisis, we talk. You know, we crack a joke or something. You know, we do still smile, chuckle. At the same time, we are very sad also.
Correct.
Like India losing the World Cup right now. It's such a horrendous night,
Yeah.
you know. But still there were this thing कि अच्छा उसने ऐसे कर दिया, शामी ने ऐसे कर दिया, उससे ये नहीं, और केएल राहुल से क्या छूट गया, जो भी हो गया हम कर रहे हैं. So it's human emotion, human nature is like that. We are not supposed to go on one path, you know. There are always these different streaks of emotions and, you know, different beings in one being. So just to showcase that was a sheer treat.
Yeah.
Maybe. And because he is responsible, like you were saying, na, this film, that film,
Yeah,
this, I think all that has come into Balwan.
Yeah.
He's this, and this also.
Of course. Also, about time you make your own book of one-liners. I mean, you have enough quota already to be doing that. Of course, coming to you, Sunny, and couple of things before we wind up. It is, again, I was so amazed right away when this show, because it's pretty much starts with your voiceover, right? And I don't know if I'm sure it was intentional, that he's consistently talking in the narration about Gandhiji and his teachings, which pretty much acts as a mirror to what probably the kind of character he is and his actions will be, because he is still fighting the system in a certain way. He's not trying to be a hero. He's trying to do something right? What was the kind of thread that you held on to, you know, as a journalist? I mean, as the character and the journalist, and did you need these metaphors or these, you know, personification sort of a thing to get into the depth of it?
I think, as you commented about the opening, you know, the voiceover, I think it sums up the character in itself.
Yeah.
That was so beautifully written. We've been talking a lot. Sir has been saying, script में सब होता है. वो जो opening sequence था ना, उसमें बहुत बखूबी से उसका किरदार समझ में आ जाता है. There is valor, there is helplessness, there is courage, yet, you know, there's weight.
Weight of the writer, that because he's a journalist.
There is, of course, there is weight, and then at the same time there is hope also.
Yeah.
He is still not finished. He needs to do something about this also.
Correct.
कि ये खत्म नहीं हो गया है, and that's what you see eventually, how it culminates. कि अभी काम हुआ, अभी तो शुरू हुई है, you know. And then you see that in 96 also, he goes to that widow colony, and
right.
I think even that scene is so beautifully done. That was just one scene. That one scene depicted the entire plight of those people. वो एक scene में वो एक बच्चे के साथ, that was very touching. It was heartbreaking, seriously. Even as an actor to be there and shoot that, I mean, बहुत तकलीफ हुई थी उसमें.
I understand.
And we're shooting the real colony.
And that was the colony, and going there and just thinking about it कि कि क्या हुआ होगा इतने सारे लोगों के साथ, and that's the power of cinema, and that's what it did. And it's not just you know कि एक character करके आगे बढ़ गए, but उसने बहुत सिखाया. You know, I think as an actor or as an artist, the biggest power or biggest thing that you can achieve is empathy. And if you can empathize with people, then half job is done. And it only aggravated and it only enriched me as an actor, you know, to be able to portray this character and to be able to understand about them. You can't understand, yeah, forget feeling them. So just to touch that, to be able to understand their plight, and you know, to be able to get that, to be able to get that opportunity to portray it in even, you know, minutest way, कि वो आप तक पहुंच रहा है, भाई हमारे लिए सक्सेस है बहुत बड़ी. एंड हमारे लिए क्या, as makers, the producers, the director, I mean it's a great deal. So I'm delighted to be whatever kind of part, small part, big part, I'm delighted to be able to, you know, be a part of this and to be able to contribute this at my level.
Just the sheer fact that there is a widow colony.
Yeah.
It's just
बहुत
मतलब वो
खतरनाक
क्या
था.
है?
It
I
baffles
mean,
you
you know,
that
it's
it's-
just-
और इन लोग ने
it's
ढूंढा
written
है वो
there.
जाके यार, मतलब
Yeah, the
they have-
Reiki involved,
मतलब
I'm
ऐसा
sure
नहीं है
would have
कि
been crazy.
हाँ पूरी टीम, it's a team effort.
Yeah,
and
it's insane. True. And you know, just to wind things up, just a very generic question open to all. Things like this, you know, Bhopal Gas Tragedy is still, you know, I would, popular is the worst word to use, but still there is an awareness about it.
It's a recent tragedy.
Yeah, it's a very recent thing to happen. Have any of you ever read or, you know, seen, or, you know, there is anything that you have ever seen, read, or sort of known as an anecdote from someone that you feel, okay, this story should also have, you know, should be conveyed to, you know, people, you know, in probably in the right, with the right person and the right director, and you know, all that stuff. Anything like I'm talking
I don't
in
know.
general.
Recent year, pandemic again. I mean, countless stories
Yeah.
of human sacrifice, of people going, you know, just all out helping. And one thing which really broke my heart, where, yes, understandably, everyone was very fearful of the situation, but there was this one incident I was reading about where these, I mean, the doctors or the nurses, how they go, you know, being there in the hospital 5, 6 days, wanted to come back home, take a shower and everything, and people were not allowing them,
Yeah.
saying, "Ki, please don't come back, you'll get the infection and everything."
Right.
It just shows you such two different sides of humanity.
Humanity, exactly.
And it's just, yeah, that was very heartbreaking too.
and at the same time there is an angle of the bureaucrats जो the curfew था, सब बंद था, they used to go to provide stuff, because when I was researching about some other role, that's when I got to know about all these things. सब लोग घर पे बैठते थे महफूज, ये लोग होते थे जो जाके, you know, labor department जो होता था, they used to go, they were on their feet 24/7 to provide stuff, to allow the transport happen, कि you know, basic amenities की चीज़ें पहुंचाई जाएं हर जगह अपने dedicated लोगों के लिए. All the इसके भी behind stories हैं
काफी सारे.
खतरनाक.
It's funny you said that because there's that line in the waiting hall when KK sir and you were there, and that guy says, ये कोई महामारी है, लाशों को उठा के फेंक दो. That came from this thing that in COVID people were like, the dead bodies are going to spread a disease, and it was too bad.
Absolutely. I mean, I didn't want to go this heavy, but I think it's essential when you have a show like this who's trying to.
No, but a situation like this can bring out the worst or the best,
both. Exactly.
in you, you know.
Absolutely, and that's exactly what it conveys. Because at the end of the day, it's a story about heroes who didn't want to be heroes but still became one. So thank you guys. Thank you so much for this interaction.
Thank
I'm
you.
sure people already loving it. I know it, but I'm sure more and more people are going to see it. So all the best, even more so, and continued success ahead.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you
so
guys.
much,
Thank you so
Kunal.
much.